All right, so today I want to just let's talk about superhero games because I've been seeing this narrative about how, superhero games have bigger mass appeal than say Fallout or Doom. And as somebody who is a massive comic book fan, especially DC, love the X-Men and stuff like that, Hellboy, Spawn. So my comic book fandom isn't just with DC, branches out to other IPs and stuff. But the reason why I want to talk about superhero games is because I want to have this discussion. Is it really that mass appeal? And so I got a lot of superhero games here, recent and older ones. Unfortunately, and let me tell you this, superhero games and video games are synonymous. Superheroes and video games, right? Pretty much there's been superhero games since day one. Spider-Man and Batman games since the 80s. I think there's even a Superman game in the 80s. Justice League Task Force in the 90s. The X-Men games on the Sega Genesis, that was some of my favorite, including X-Men 2 Clone Wars or Batman and Robin from the Sega Genesis. So, so, what impact do you think that these superhero games have? Something like Injustice, amazing game, my favorite superhero game of last gen. I meant fighting game of last gen. I meant that tells a brilliant story, and what's cool and the influence that a game like this had is that it followed the Mortal Kombat of having. I think it even had a better story than the Mortal Kombat games. That fighting games never really had these deep stories, right? Until the DC games. But how much of an impact? This I think Arkham series is the rare series where there is a legitimate impact, and all of them are playable on Xbox One. But since Arkham Asylum had a legit impact on gaming. That gameplay style after that game came out was everywhere. Even Assassin's Creed Syndicate had that Arkham style, for example, or Shadow of Mordor that came out number of years after. But again, how would you really say that Arkham influenced gaming more than say Fallout or the Elder Scrolls? As great as these games are, and Arkham Knight in particular being one of my it's in my Hall of Fame in gaming, right? I don't think it had that same impact. And so, I'm going over a lot of the steelbook for Arkham Knight here. Yeah, so, and then this is also something I'm gonna talk about in a bit. Something like Saints Row, which is a superhero game. I mean, if you play the game, you basically have superhero powers. Now, it's not a licensed superhero game, but I do think it fit into this criteria. But the point is, all these games I'm showing you. Now, I didn't like these Telltale Batman games. All these games I'm showing you, as great as many of them are, do you I don't think it had that same appeal that Fallout 4 did when it came out, or Skyrim, or Fallout 3, or Elder Scrolls 6 when it comes out, right? The Avengers game. I know the game has some controversy. Now the gameplay is fun, but it did have some issues. Now the updates they've made, where you play as Black Panther and all these other new characters, is pretty dope. And again, do these games really have that appeal? That some and Fractured Butthole, where the South Park characters are basically superheroes. And now, when we go back even further, it even becomes even more blurry. Love this Ninja Turtles game, in which, for example, Spider Man. Let's be honest here. Spider-Man games. There were a lot of great, fun and really good Spider-Man games. Some even great, like Shattered Dimensions and Webs of Shadows. And I even had fun with Amazing Spider-Man 2. These games, while fun, let's be real, nobody cared about Spider-Man in large numbers till 2018, till it was exclusive to PlayStation. Like, let's call it what it is. And so, as you look through all these games, which one? Well, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which this is 3, not 2, was one of those games that I feel like it did actually have some nice little influence, but did it really? Is it really a larger appeal than your Fallout's and Skyrims. I'm sorry, I just don't see it. And as we go further back in time with these older games, you know, look, something like Ultimate Destruction was a fantastic game at the time, and it probably feels still fantastic now. Did it really? Did it really? When this game came out, but 2004, did it really change game? Was it really this huge, massive game as opposed to games that were out around the same time? I don't think so. Again, I have all these games because I am a massive comic book fan and always love superhero gaming, right? So, and I'll be the first to say I would love Xbox to have a superhero game, right? Uh, Something licensed superhero game. Hint, hint. This is a superhero game. Over the top characters, over the top bad guys, different powers and guns. Yeah, that's a superhero game. And yeah, look, X Men Origins Wolverine. For example, was anybody hyping this game up before the announcement last week? And this is a fun little hack and shit. Movie tie-in games somehow super. These two, Batman Begin and X Men Origins Wolverine, are some solid movie tie-in games. Something that historically, yeah, movie tie-in game. Oh, now my all-time favorite superhero game, X Men Legends 2 and X Men Legends, especially 2. 2 is fantastic. I mean, because they added more customization instead of just the four powers you had in this one. Oh, just love this game. Uh, I'd love a super. Listen, I would. My top two dreams, well, top three, is a big budget Green Lantern game, a big budget Superman game, and a big budget AAA Justice League game. And it sucks that Warner Bros. Owns these IPs and just what are they doing with it? And yeah, so as I wrap up this video, um, as Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and this is I don't have the case for 2, but again, number of great games, and then Superman, Man of Steel. This was a OG Xbox exclusive. That's right, Xbox had exclusive Superman game back in the day. So yeah, as I wrap this video up, you look at my superhero games, and I think I have enough to show you that I'm not being a fraud here. Did these games how impactful do you think these games were on the overall gaming landscape? Are, would you really say that these games were bigger influence than Doom? Remember Doom way back in the day when it came out. Wolfenstein way back in the day when it came out. Fallout. I mean, how massive was Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, New Vegas, and especially the Elder Scrolls games, Morrowind, Oblivion, all of them. I love superhero games. I do. I wouldn't have owned these games and played them if I didn't. But, let's keep it real. Let me know what you think, and I'm out.